Okay, take that as my cue to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to a very different type of stream. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading. Haven't done a reading stream before. This is going to be new for me, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. And I'll try to be as clear and legible as I can. We're going to switch over to the specially made tab for this special October event. Greetings, everyone. I put all this together real quick before the stream, but this is what you could consider my Halloween costume of William Dafoe in The Lighthouse. Now, I don't think what we're going to be doing here is quite as strange as anything you'll see in The Lighthouse, but it's a good way to revisit our childhood and see some of those spooky stories that scared us back when we were children. Will they still scare us now, or are they a bit silly in our adult years? I guess we'll find out. The book I've chosen to start my read-along series with is The Knight in Screaming Armor. I'm just going to be reading a bunch of Goosebumps books. Hey, I'm going to be reading a bunch of Goosebumps books this month, 3, I hope, all from the Choose Your Own Adventure series. We've got Knight in Screaming Armor to start with, and if you're wondering why, it's purely based on the cover. I just think it has the coolest cover of any of them. So we're going to start with that one. I've got it rented out here on my e-reader, and if we enjoy it, we'll do another one next Monday. My plan is we'll do this one today. Next week we'll do one that I've been meaning to get to because it's one that defeated me in my childhood and I've always meant to go back and conquer it. So maybe we can conquer it together. And then for the last one, I'll kind of do a sort of a user input choice. So there'll be a poll and people can pick which one they want to read as our final one. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get started with the reading. Got some water here. I hope I didn't blow out my voice too badly on karaoke on Sunday, because there's going to be a lot of reading involved. But we'll get to it. If you, for any reason you want to partake in this stream, but you can't really listen right now, another option would be to turn on the subtitles. They don't always work perfectly, but you might be able to kind of follow along that way, even if you can't hear my voice. Because obviously there's not going to be a whole lot to look at here, other than just me reading the books. If you can't partake in my voice, that might be a way to continue watching the stream anyways. Why don't we go ahead and get started? If you're not familiar with Goosebumps books, they're R.L. Stine's series about all kinds of scary and spooky happenings designed to scare a child audience. Some of the stories are kind of inventive in ways that you wouldn't expect and can be a little bit freaky even now. I'm not sure if this will be one of those. I don't remember this one too well. So we'll be experiencing this one kind of for the first time together. Redeems are still okay, so if you have anything you want to redeem during the stream, go for it. Alright, why don't we go ahead and get started. I'm going to start from the preface at the beginning of the book. Beware, do not read this book from beginning to end. Prepare yourself to meet the knight in screaming armor. Your cousins are coming to visit you from England. They're bringing something with them, a little surprise. It's an old suit of armor from your uncle's collection. It has a really cool battle axe and a shield, and it has something else too. Orders to destroy you. You see, there's an ancient curse that was placed upon your family, and the knight is here to deliver it. And that's not all. A ghastly-looking gardener with 3 heads, mud-slinging monsters made of goo, and some very nasty sheep are all headed your way. This scary adventure is all about you. You decide what will happen, and you decide how terrifying the scares will be. Start on page 1, then follow the instructions at the bottom of each page. You make the choices. If you make the right choices, you will defeat the knight in screaming armor and escape its horrible curse. If you make the wrong choice, beware. So take a deep breath, cross your fingers, and turn to page 1 now to give yourself goosebumps. I'll take a quick seg here to talk about this choose your own adventure format on the phone, like reading it on the digital version I've rented from the library, is the perfect way to read one of these things because they allow you to just click the page number at the bottom and it automatically flips you to the page that you're supposed to be on or the page that you choose. So it's actually a little bit more convenient than it was reading these when I was a kid. Okay, why don't we go ahead and get into the meat of it. Pip pip, ta-ta, jolly good, tally-ho and all that rot, your dad exclaims. Dad, you plead, please. So sorry, he apologizes in his best British accent. We just want your cousins to feel at home, now don't we? It's not every day we have visitors from England. It's been over a year since we've seen them. Jolly good, ta-ta, pip pip, your dad says again. Yes, your mom adds. Your Uncle Will is giving lectures at several important American museums, so Kip and Abby will be staying with us for a whole week. Isn't that terrific? You only half agree. Kip Saxton is your age. Sometimes he complains too much, but mostly he's a pretty cool kid. His 15-year-old sister is another story. Abby acts like she's queen of the world, you say. She can be a royal pain. Oh, you'll have fun, your dad assures you. Uncle Will says Kip and Abby are bringing a big surprise with them. A surprise, you ask? What surprise? Before your dad can say another word about the surprise, the doorbell rings. They're here, your mom calls from the front hall. She opens the door as the airport shuttle van pulls away. Airport shuttle van. Sorry. Your cousins are standing in the doorway. You haven't changed a bit, your mom declares as she hugs Abby and Kip. I hope that's not true, you mutter. Your tall blonde cousin is already staring past you and into the mirror behind you. Hi, you manage to say to her. Abby primps her golden curls before she answers. Oh, hi, she says as she pats her hair about 100 times. Still the same old Abby, you have to admit. Forget her, someone says, laughing. It's Kip. Can you give me a hand? We've got more stuff to bring in. Your sandy-haired cousin moves back out onto the front step and points to 2 huge wooden crates. The crates are taller than your dad. What the, you start to say. Artifacts, your dad chimes in. Uncle Will is coming here next week to lecture at the Medieval Museum downtown. I told him we'd store some exhibits here until he arrives, but I'd never expected anything this big. These crates will have to go in the garage. What's in the crates anyway? You ask Kip. 2 suits of armor, Kip says. That's what's in the crates. They're really old, from the 15th century. We call one of them the Evil Knight. It's been with the Saxton family forever. The other suit was Edmund Saxton's. He's our great, well, you get the picture. The crates are on wheels. You, Kip, Abby, and your dad pull them down the driveway to the garage behind your house. You notice a label on one of the crates. Hey, look at this, you cry. You read the label aloud. Chekhov's Evil Knight. I believe so. I think we may just see more of this so-called Screaming Knight before the Screaming Knight is over. Beware this dark and evil night, cursed still from long ago. Until a good knight fights for right, this night brings misery and woe. That's kind of spooky, you add. No, don't read that out loud, Kip cautions too late. It's an evil curse on the whole Saxton family. A curse? You laugh. You don't believe in curses, do you? Sure I do, and so should you if you know what's good for you, Kip whispers. I guess you've never heard the tale. The tale? What tale, you ask? The legend of the curse of the knight in Screaming Armory by Goosebumps Scholastic Books, Kip answers. No. Years ago... Sorry, give me one second. Years ago, and he... Sorry. This is my first time doing a reading. I'm getting too into it. Give me one second. Okay. Years ago, an evil sorceress got angry at the king's best knight. Shoot, this is driving me crazy. This isn't good. Right. Sir Edmund Saxton. God, you know what? Let me take 5 here. I cracked myself up too much. 1 second. Thank you. Oh boy. I don't know why I can't get through this line. It's driving me crazy. Sir Edmund Saxton, you know, our ancestor, he killed her favorite dragon or something. Anyway, she put a curse on him. The curse of the night... Damn it, they had to say the name. They had to say the name again. Shoot. Okay, let's see if we can keep going. It's driving me crazy. Oof. Alright. Oof. She made a special suit of armor and sent it to him as a gift. The armor was haunted. It held the spirit of an evil knight. That night, horrible screams and cries were heard from Saxton Castle. In the morning, Sir Edmund and all of his family had been killed. Damn, that's not a line to laugh at. But okay. I don't know. I'll get over this. Don't worry. Kip's eyes grow wide as he goes on. All of his family was dead except one son. He's been out hunting. Anyway, he kept the armor. He was too scared to throw it away. The 4 of you arrive at the garage and your dad reaches down to open the door. This is that armor. Family legend has it that one day it will wake up again, thirsty for Saxton blood. Then it will destroy all that is good, unless a brave and noble Saxton can defeat it. It has to be a member of the Saxton family. Ha, you laugh. I'm related to you, so I'm a Saxton. What's an evil knight's suit of armor going to do to me? Get your answer on page 96. You can just forget that Screaming Armor story, Abby snaps before Kip gets a chance to answer you. It's totally stupid, and it's not even true. But long after everyone has gone to sleep, you lie awake thinking about the night of Screaming. I don't know why that makes me laugh every time. Damn it. If they would just call it something else. Okay. Man, shit. Does the sound of your own voice ever just make you laugh? I have that problem a lot. I don't know why that is. We're gonna get through this together, though. Hours later, you've just dozed off when you are awakened by a chilling scream. It's coming from the garage. I wonder what it could be. That's screaming in the garage. Who could say it? The chorus, you gasp. Okay, here's our first choice. We get to make a choice here. Are you going to try to ignore the scream? Or are you going to investigate the chilling streak? Let's see. I'm going to try something real quick, and we'll see if it works. We're going to say, ignore the scream. Response is yes or no. We're going to do this real quick, just a quick 1 minute for the poll. There you go. Alright, so you've got 1 minute to decide. Are we going to ignore the scream, or are we going to investigate the scream? It's all up to you. Yeah, it's definitely a situation of that favorite movie lines where they can't stop saying the knight and screaming at armor, and every time they say it, knight, screaming, and armor are all like capitalized. And so it makes me laugh every time I see it. Okay, so we've got the choice to either stay asleep in our bed and just ignore the screaming armor in our garage, or we can go investigate the screaming armor. All up to you. What will it be? Yes or no? Time's almost up. And the answer is yes, we're going to go investigate it. Wait, no, yes, we're going to ignore it? Okay, we'll ignore the screen. Alright. We are going to try to ignore the screen. You pull the covers up over your head and try to go back to sleep. After all, Abby said the story about the night wasn't true. You can't sleep. There's another shriek, and another. The screaming grows louder and more chilling, and it's getting closer. That last one seemed to come from just outside your door. Wait, what's that? Something is moving at the foot of your bed. You strain your eyes to see in the darkness, and you immediately wish you hadn't. A shadowy figure seems to hover at your feet, ready to attack. It's the night, you shout as you spring up in bed. The Sleep Master. That's from another Goosebumps cover. That's another funny one, too. Okay, let's see what happens to us. Yeah, it's the middle of the night to be exact, the shadow answers. You recognize her voice. Abby, you gasp, what are you doing in my room? I heard you screaming, she says, holding her hands over her ears. Horrible, horrible screams. What's going on in here? I'm trying to get some sleep. Evil, Kip whispers as he peeks through the doorway behind Abby. That's what's going on in here. In the dim rays of the hall and nightlight, you see a panic on Kip's face. Don't be ridiculous, Abby scolds her brother. The only evil going on here is that I'm losing my beauty sleep. This screaming simply has to stop. Now shut your mouth and go back to bed. It won't stop, Kip insists. It's the curse, I know it. We shouldn't have brought that rusty old armor. Now we've woken the spirit of the evil night. There's no escaping it, not for the Saxtons. You don't know about this whole curse thing, but one thing you do know, there's no way you can go back to sleep and pretend you don't hear the screams. The knight in screaming armor cannot and will not be ignored, no matter what any poll says. Let's see what's next. Scream! Another shriek fills the night. Kip and Abby are as wide awake as you are. The piercing screams draw the three of you together at your bedside. You grab each of your cousins by the hand. We have to go out to the garage and investigate, you declare. We have to find out what's out there. Another scream pierces the air. Abby forgets how much cooler than you she is for a moment and clutches one of your arms. Kip grabs your other one. You grab a flashlight from your desk and make your way out into the night. You pull your cousins along behind you. Eventually, you come to the garage door. You pause a moment and listen to the screams. Well, here goes, you say. You reach down, grab the handle, and lift it open. The garage door swings up and out of your way. Dark was never as dark as this. Monsters seem to lurk around every corner. Familiar forms look strange. The beam of your flashlight cuts past the frightful, shadowy figures to the two crates. They stand like tombstones in the middle of the garage, except that one of them is vibrating, shaking back and forth. The light reflects off a label on one of the crates, the one with the curse on it. Then you notice another handwritten label near the top of each crate. One says Evil Night, the other reads Good Night. Which one should we open, you say nervously. Neither, Kip replies. He seems terrified, maybe a little too terrified. You're not sure you buy all this cursed stuff. Maybe it's all a big trick. Kip and Abby could have gotten someone to shout and shake the crate around. Who's really in that Evil Night crate, you wonder? Then again, those screams do sound pretty spooky. Maybe you should play it safe and open the crate marked Good Night. A suit of armor could come in handy if there is some crazy curse. Okay, it's time for another quick poll. In this poll, you will get to decide which do we choose? Which night? Do you want the good night? Or do you want the evil night? We'll run the poll for 1 minute. I take it you're not giving me the benefit of the good armor this time. Well, I'm quite enjoying the story so far. It's not exactly full of surprises so far, but it's fun to read along. It's fun to do some voices. Even if I can't stop laughing hysterically every time they write the Screaming Night, it's still pretty fun. Maybe that just adds to the experience. I don't know. Maybe I myself will go crazy by the time we're done here. Alright, we're just about done with the poll. Let's see what we got. Alright, so I have to open up the Evil Night crate. I'm sure this is a great idea. Let's see what we got. We open the crate that says Evil Night. Okay, the fun's over, you declare. You move over to the crate marked Evil Night and start to loosen the straps holding it shut. It's still shaking a little, but the screaming has died down to a faint moan. You really had me going there for a minute, you continue. Those screams sounds pretty scary, and all that moaning and shaking, wow, you guys are good. Kip and Abby look as if they don't know what you're talking about, but you know better. Who'd you get to help you with this little prank anyway? My dad, you ask? Your dad is just the sort of goofball to go in for something like this, too. You fumble with the leather straps, but you finally get them undone. By now, you're chuckling to yourself. It really was a good prank, complete with these oversized crates. You just can't believe you fell for it. Speaking of falling, that's what the front door to the crate does next. It's also what your lower jaw does. It falls open. You try to scream, but all that comes out is a little whimper. There, in front of you, about a foot from your face. You stare into the laser-light eyes of the knight in screaming armor, trademark. Hey, I've just been guided into opening the crate and releasing the knight in screaming armor, so I'm sure this is about to go great. Hope you're having a good night. The evil knight's head is a steaming hunk of black metal. A sparkling medallion hangs around his neck. Something about his medallion holds your gaze. You can't stop looking at it. With you standing there helpless before him, the evil knight raises his heavy sword and he brings it down and slashes open the back of the crate behind him. The wood shatters like ice. In the land of Saxtons, you shall be destroyed. His voice booms over you. You shiver. He glances back at you and then disappears through the new opening. You're not sure how long you stand there in shock. The next thing you know, Abby and Kip are standing next to you. Did you see that? You stammer. Yeah, no big deal, Abby says, trying to sound cool. Look, Kip exclaims, this hole in the back of the crate. There are hills in it. Yeah, right. What's that mean? Abby huffs. But he is right. You peer through the hole. You see emerald green hills and a pale blue sky. You feel wind against your face. You feel yourself drawn to the scene, like you were to the medallion. We'd better go through, you say, without taking your eyes off the scene before you. If not, we'll never break this cursed thing. You push aside the splinters and step through. I will say, I'm pretty surprised we haven't died yet. I was pretty sure that once we opened this crate with the evil knight in it, we were just going to get killed. Okay, next page. Kip and Abby follow you through the hole in the back of the crate. When all three of you are through, something slams shut behind you. You turn to look and the crate has disappeared. All you see around you are hills. Soft, green, rolling hills. It's so beautiful, you say. It's a whole new world. You rub your eyes, but it doesn't go away. Yeah, Goodnight may have been the dummy ending. They do like to do that in these choose your own adventures. And I was also thinking of Narnia, yes. I was going to comment that if you didn't. It's our world, Abby exclaims. We're back in England. It's exactly where the evil knight wants us to be, Kip says softly. England, the land of the Saxtons. England. Who cares, Abby says. We're home. Don't look so happy, Kip warns. The evil knight wants to destroy us. We may be home for good, or should I say, for evil. You gaze around you, stunned. There's no way to explain what just happened to you. Hundreds of sheep are grazing on a nearby hill. One wild-looking ram glances up at you. Your heart jumps. His eyes are glowing, you cry out. Your pulse starts to race. The horned head of the ram morphs into the armored head of the evil knight. He lowers his head and paws the ground. Steam pours through the grills on his helmet. He's gonna ram us, you cry. Run for your lives! This is very strange. I'm not sure why the knight didn't just kill us with his sword a second ago, if he was just gonna lure us here to be killed by sheep. Okay, whatever. Led by the evil knight, the whole herd of sheep stampedes. Terror grips you as the thundering herd bears down on the three of you. You're about to be trampled. The stampede sounds like a sonic boom. You wrap your arms around your head and wait to feel the pain of 100 little hooves pounding you into the grass. So this is how he plans to destroy us, you think. You open your mouth to scream, but you can't hear anything over the thundering of sheep feet. Then suddenly, there's nothing but the sound of screaming. Your own screaming. You peek through your arms. The stampeding herd is gone. The hills are gone. All that's left are prickle bushes. You're buried in prickle bushes, and they hurt. 100 menacing little hooves, yes. Ouch, Abby cries. She breaks herself free from the prickly bush. You can't help laughing. Abby's a human pincushion. She has little prickly leaves stuck all over her. Ouch, you and Kip say together as you fall out of the bushes. You find yourself looking like two porcupines, too. You hear giggles, and they're not Abby's. You glance over your shoulder and see something you never imagined you'd see. Two miniature men are laughing and rolling on the ground. Each man is the size of a football. They laugh and smack their knees and point at you. Pixies, Kip cries. Pixies, you say? You've got to be kidding me. The little men disappear for a minute. They resurface in the bushes close by. This way out, one giggles, pointing to the left. No, this way out, says the other, pointing to the right. Which one can you trust? Okay, here it comes. That's right, we found the leprechauns, and will we find a pot of gold, or will we find another knight in screaming armor? Give me 1 second. I'm going to put up a poll, and we can decide which we trust. Whoop. I'm sorry. I did that wrong. Give me 1 second. Pixie or right? You get to choose. Do you want left Twixie or right Twixie? You've got 1 minute to decide while I rest my voice and have a quick drink of water. If you're coming in late and wondering why I grew a beard for this, I decided since everyone else is doing a Halloween costume, I would dress up as William Dafoe from The Lighthouse. So, there you go. Alright, we're getting close, ready to call the poll. We will see if you decided you trust the left pixie or the right pixie. From all the generous character description we've been given for both of them. You were fond of me lobster. Admit it. That's like, I hate to say it, I love the movie, but that's really the only line I can quote, unfortunately. Okay, we've all decided we want the left pixie. It would have been kind of sad if we had one vote for left and one for right. I'd just have to flip a coin at that point. Okay, we're going to flip to page 32. Let's go to the left, Abby says, pulling thorns out of her arms. There's a cottage down the hill. Maybe we can get help there. Hello? Am I the only one who thinks there's something weird going on here? You ask. Abby and Kip can't hear you. They're already walking across the windy meadows towards the college. Pixies, you mumble to yourself. You take off after Kip and Abby. You don't get far when you hear a deafening rumble. It sounds like an earthquake. You see bits of turf flying in the air. You turn and look behind you to see hedges. Killer hedges. They're growing at an incredible rate. Actually, they're not so much growing as bursting through the earth in jagged lines. Walls of branches and leaves. And it looks as if they're headed right for you. It's time to start sprinting again. And there's no use screaming about it either. Now's the time to move. As you can see, these are fully the consequences of us choosing the left path. These branches definitely wouldn't have attacked us if we'd chosen the right path. We just got to use context clues for these sorts of things. Alright, so hedges are exploding out of the ground, fully grown. They're spreading towards you with amazing speed. You're no match for them. They burst past you, blocking your path, and try to stop short, but not fast enough to avoid a face full of prickles. Kip and Abby, too. You start to run the other way, but you don't get far before you come up against another wall of hedge. It doesn't seem to matter which way you turn. Any open path is instantly blocked by a solid wall of high bramble bushes. Prickers grab at you as you run past. You shake them off and keep on running. You have to get out of here. The walls around you grow higher and higher, cutting the sky into lines of blue. The three of you race in every direction, but it's no use. You stop for a second to catch your breath. The ground beneath you starts to rumble and shake. Ah! You scream. You can imagine the hedge about to explode through the ground and up through your body. You brace yourself, but then it stops. It's quiet again, except for Kip. We're trapped, he bellows. What do we do now? Try to escape on page 78. You stare at the walls of greenery surrounding you. The hedges are too high, you say. We can't climb over them. It looks like a maze, Abby comments. You know, Kip, like they used to have at royal palaces and stuff? I wonder if there's a way out. We'll either have to find our way out of here or break through the hedge. We can't stay in here forever, you say. Forever, Kip wails. Knock it off, Kip, you and Abby both cry. So what will it be? It's time for another poll. Yeah, a classic bramble maze. One of the evil knight's tricks, no doubt. So we've got another poll here. I'll tell you what your options are. You can either choose to try to find your way out, or try to break through the hedge. Which do you trust, your wits or your strength? All right, polls up. Here we're surrounded by evil brambles of all things, not exactly something I expected. Let's see, the evil knight was just two pixies with one standing on the other's shoulders. Yes, perhaps. Or maybe each pixie gets one suit of armor. Maybe the left one was the evil one and the right one was the good one, and we just picked the wrong pixie. Who knows? I guess we'll find out pretty shortly when we figure out if we can clear this bramble maze or not. By the way, I turned on a few music things in the background. I'm not sure if they're coming through at all, so if it's too quiet to hear, let me know and I can always turn it up a little bit. Or if it's too loud, I'll turn it down. Okay, good. All right, it's over. We've chosen to break through the hedge. All right, we're going to trust our muscles. Break through the hedge. On page 116. It's no use trying to find your way out of the mess of hedges surrounding you. We'll have to break through, you decide. It's our only choice. Okay, but I'd better not get a scratch, Abby warns. I've worked too hard for this beautiful complexion. The three of you turn your backs to the high, thick hedge. On the count of three, we ram it, you say. You link arms. 1, 2, 3, you count. Altogether, you throw yourself backward against the towering green wall. You fall through, landing flat on your backs on the other side. Hooray, Kip cheers. We did it. Before you and Abby can add your own cheers, thousands of little animals tumble out of the hedge and cover you. Their fur is thick and coarse like spines. Oh, I hate dirty critters, Abby exclaims. Get out of my hair. Hedgehogs, you cry. They're holding us down. Page 94. I guess we didn't account for those hedgehogs, huh? Those completely foreshadowed hedgehogs. All right. There are hedgehogs squirming all over you. They jabber away. Chitter chee chee, chitter chirret, chim chitter cheech. They're talking to each other, you murder, through a mouthful of hedgehog spines. Right, I guess so. The hedges were foreshadowing hedgehogs. And yeah, the hedgehogs just wanted you to solve the maze on your own power, but you had to try to brute force it. Right. 2 hedgehogs are holding a meeting right on your face, and it doesn't feel very good. You manage to sit up. Dozens of the balled-up hedgehogs roll off you and then pounce on you again. Sure it cheat, the lead hedgehog squeals. 3 hedgehogs nesting in Abby's hair look up. The one on Kip's shoulders curls into balls. Sorry, let me start there. The ones on Kip's shoulders curl into balls and roll down his chest. Spiny fur balls roll out of your sleeves, off your head, out of Abby's hair, and even out from inside your shoes. Sure it cheat, the biggest hedgehog says again. In a flash, they scurry back into the hedges behind you. What's going on? You feel a blast of wind. It's warm, not cold. You raise your eyes up to the hills. A dark mist is rolling down over them. Hey, you say, we'd better get out of here. Whatever that mist is, those little animals are scared of it. Where are we going to go? Abby asks. We have another poll. So, yeah, I know, right? We went from a night, we went to pixies, we went to living hedges, and now we're fighting a bunch of hedgehogs. Oh boy. Alright, so we're going to do another poll. This time your question is, this is a weird question. The question is, do we want to return to the hedges? So return to the evil hedges we just escaped from, or do we want to wait where we are and see what's coming? Neither one of these sound like very good options, do they? But you guys, you guys get to decide. I'll take a little bit of water while I wait. Yeah, I don't think either one of these sounds like a real winner of an option. I think we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. It's as difficult as choosing between left and right. Yeah, the Screaming Knights dinosaurs, yeah. Any second now. It's funny because, okay, so on the front cover of the book, they actually show a crow that has a little helmet, like a screaming helmet. And I thought that was just them being silly, but based on that ram we saw earlier, maybe that was actually based on like part of the book. I don't know. Okay, let's see. We're going to wait and see what's coming. Alrighty. You two are of one mind so far, and I find that impressive. Okay, so let's get back to it. The hedges are behind you. The green hills are in front of you. There's a warm wind in your face, and something is coming over those hills. A dark black mist is rolling towards you. It's already halfway to where you're standing. Oh, I don't like the looks of this, Kip says. The warm wind picks up. Dark clouds gather. Dust whips around in whirlpools. Evil is in the air around you. Look, you remark, sooner or later, we're going to have to face this evil knight. That's the only way to break the curse, right? Only a Saxon can defeat him. I'd prefer later to sooner, Kip starts to answer back. He never finishes his sentence. Scream! The scream of the evil knight announces his arrival. The evil knight's screams mingle with the whistling blast of hot wind. You can almost feel his evil breath mixed in with the wind. You know he's so close. The dark mist rushes at you. The force of the gale throws the three of you back against the hedge, but you don't feel the prickly leaves. You don't land on the ground where you were. In fact, you don't land at all. We're falling! The three of you cry together. Falling, falling, falling. Okay. We have a choice here, and it's a rather strange one. Our next choice is... what are we falling onto? We can choose to either say the chair we're sitting on has a cushion, or we can choose to say it doesn't have a cushion and you're not sitting in a chair. It's all up to you. Yeah, these choices are crazy. I didn't remember it being quite this goofy. But it sure is, isn't it? What do you guys think? Are we going to do a little bit of armchair reading? Or are we going to land on the mystery item? It's all up to you. The mystery item could be anything. It could be even more comfortable than a chair. Or we could land right atop the Screaming Knight. It would be just like the Screaming Knight to scream at us, make us fall backward, fall through a hedge bush, and land right back in front of it. Alright, we've got a split decision, which means I've got to flip a coin. Give me one moment. I'm afraid I don't have a nice, coin here to flip, so you're not going to get to hear that. And I'm also not very good at flipping coins to begin with, so I'm just going to use an online function. Let's see. Generate result. The choice is not a chair. So we're going to see what shows up. If you were hoping to see what the mystery item was, you're in luck. You've landed in a valley, but the green hills of a moment ago are long gone. In fact, there isn't a blade of grass as far as the eye can see. It's all rocks, broken up shards and boulders and stones. And it's dark. A pale moon shines up above. Abby tries to move and barely balances on a wobbly platform of stone. She shrieks, "This is like an avalanche waiting to happen." "Be careful," Kip warns. "These flat rocks aren't as steady as they look." "Yeah, thanks for the tip, Kip," Abby says. "I think we noticed." They're right. The rock you're standing on tips and throws you backward to another flat rock below. "Whoa!" you cry, as your new rocky floor seesaws back and forth. You glance down. There are more jagged rocks waiting to catch you below. It kind of feels like we're in a platforming section. Next, you look up, and something flashes. High up on the rocky point of this mountain, something silvery shimmers in the moonlight. It seems to be calling to you. What is it? "Where are you going?" Kip asks, as you carefully step off your rocking rock and onto his. "Look up there," you say. You point to the gleaming object. "I have a feeling whatever is up there is something we need. I don't know why, but I have to find out what it is. I'm going up to get it." "I'll come with you," Kip volunteers. "Stop right there," Abby orders. "Don't take another step. You're not leaving me alone." "Oh yeah, Abby's afraid of heights," Kip mumbles. "I'll go by myself," you declare. "You two stay together here." Balancing on all fours, you move up onto the next rock. Yeah, they're really going for it. You feel as if you're climbing on eggshells. One false move and the rock you're on could crumble away. You would tumble all the way to the bottom. You test each rock before you move to it. It's amazing how many of them have jagged edges. Higher and higher you climb. Then you see it. A hand sticking up out of the rocks. You peer closer at the hand sticking up out of the rocks. It's only made of stone. That's when you notice that the rock you're sitting on has a face. "Ah!" you yell. The stone face is frozen in an expression of pain. You move to another rock. But as you look around, all of the broken rocks are shaped like people! Broken pieces of people! "Abby! Kip!" you cry, but there's no answer. You can't see them from where you are without losing your balance. What if they're turning into stone or something, you think? You call out again, but again, there's no reply. What's going on? Maybe they just can't hear you from down below. But maybe you should just climb back down and check on them, just to be safe. Alrighty, folks, you know what time it is. You get to choose. Do we keep climbing for the object, or do we turn around and go help our cousins? We're going to start the poll. Yeah, the knight seems to really have a pretty good petrification streak going here. Man, if you were to think about like the quickest way to from point A to point B, the knight does the exact opposite of that. So he took out his sword, could have killed us right there, didn't. Slashes open this portal to another world. We go into the portal, we get attacked by a sheep with his head. Two pixies, and we fall into a bramble bush. Two pixies like direct us where to go, and then we're attacked by evil hedges. Hedgehogs attack us and pin us to the ground. The knight attacks us again, but this time he throws us backward into this chasm that ends with us on these like rocky statues of people. It could not be any more of a winding story so far. Okay, we both decided to leave Kip and Abby for themselves. Oh boy. Okay, we're going to keep climbing for the shimmering object. Right, as opposed to... Maybe the knight was a good guy all along. Maybe. Alright, let's read. You may be climbing on pieces of people, but as rocks, they're not going to hurt you, or you them for that matter. Kip and Abby are probably fine. Maybe they just can't hear you. If they are turning to stone, they're not going anywhere, are they? And you're not sure what you could do to help them anyway. You decide to keep climbing the last little bit up the slope. You'll grab that shining object, whatever it is, while you've got the chance. You're almost there. The rock you're standing on is totally unstable. You have to do a real balancing act to keep from crashing down on the rocks below. Slowly, carefully, you reach for the silver object. It's long and shiny. When you've got a hold of it, you try to lift it up, but it lifts you up into the air. The shining thing is a metal finger that's attached to a metal hand that's attached to the knight in screaming armor. Meet your doom on page 66. Ah! You don't know who's screaming louder, you or the evil knight. You stare into his glowing eyes. You feel the steam of his breath on your face. And then he reaches out, lifts you up, and flings you over the mountainside. Down, down, down you tumble. Your arms and legs bash against the sharp rocks. You can feel the bumps and the bruises starting to swell even before you reach the rocky bottom of the mountain. At last, you tumble to a stop next to the motionless figures of Kip and Abby. You don't move a muscle because you can't. You're stiff all over and you're getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. The end. Well, that's the end of our first read-through, folks. Oh boy. I wonder if there's a way to go back to where we were a little bit ago. I don't think there is a way to just jump backward. I might have to start paying more attention to that. Let's see if I can get back to a waypoint. In fact, why don't I put up a poll real quick? Let's see. Stiffer. Yeah, we all got pretty stiff. Alright, so I'm going to give you a couple options. We can go back to choosing between good or evil knight. We can go back to choosing between left pixie or right pixie. We can go back to, let's see. We can go back to going back into the hedges, or we can go back and try to save our cousins. I'll make those our options for now, and we'll start the poll. And that will decide where we get back to. I'm going to go ahead and try to get back to that first choice, just so we won't have to redo the whole thing. I think what I'm going to do is in the future I'm going to mark down these choice pages so we can go back to them after we die. Okay, we decided we should go back to left pixie or right pixie, and this time we're going to pick right pixie. Alright, give me just a moment. I'm going to get back over there. It's not as long as you might think, so. Let's see. Alright, so this time we're going to go back to this to set the scene. We've been transported to another world. There's two pixies who are both saying they're trying to save us from these stampeding rams. One says go left, the other says go right. And this time we're going to choose the right pixie. Let's go to the right, Kip says as he pulls prickles from his arms and legs. I don't like the looks of that cottage over there. Why would anyone live out here in the middle of nowhere? A pixie giggles and the cottage disappears. Now it's over here and not over there, the pixie laughs. Do you like it over here? The cottage magically appears behind you. Why do you like it over here? Another pixie giggles as the cottage turns up on your left. Over here, over there, it doesn't really matter where, the two pixies sing together. Where you are is where you're not. When a pixie's spell, you've got. You should take the chance to hide, one sings, pointing to the magic cottage. The wicked one won't look inside, the other one sings. The sudden shrill shriek of the evil knight sets your feet running. If the evil knight destroys us before we can break the curse, no Saxton will ever be safe, you pant as you run. He's coming. Hurry, we have to go hide in that cottage over there, like it or not. You run to where the cottage is, but it's no longer there. Those nasty pixies keep moving it. Over here, the pixies giggle. Over there, over here, over there, over here, over there. Well, this is the most annoying one so far. It's no use, Abby complains breathlessly after running first one way and then the other. The cottage is never where it seems to be. I'm too tired to run anymore. So am I, Kip says, collapsing on the ground next to his sister. We'll just have to take our chances with the knight in screaming armor. I need some sleep. No, we can't sleep, you say. I'm tired too, but if we sleep, the evil knight will destroy us. Everything is quiet now. You fight sleep. Abby and Kip fight it too, but you can see they're failing. They both fall into a deep sleep. Only you are awake to stand guard. A cloud rolls over the moon. It's impossible to see anything. Behind you, a crackling of underbrush signals a footstep. "Who goes there?" you shout into the darkness. No answer. The footsteps crush the brush again. You hear breathing, closer, closer. Slowly, you reach a hand out in front of you. In total darkness, your fingers touch metal. "Ah!" you scream when your fingers touch metal. "Wake up!" you hear Kip's voice saying. "You're screaming!" Abby shakes your arm. "Wake up!" Your eyes flutter open. Your hand rests on the cold metal head of a shovel hanging on your garage wall. "You've been sleepwalking," Kip says. "We heard you screaming, so we ran to your bedroom. You got out of bed, put on a robe, and walked out here to the garage. We followed you just to make sure you were all right," Abby continues. "You walked up to the crates we brought and just stood in front of them for the longest time. It was weird. We tried to talk to you, but you didn't hear us. Then you reached your hand out, touched the shovel, and you started screaming again." Kip is laughing now because of the look on your face. You're surprised, embarrassed, and relieved all at once. Was it really all just a crazy dream? "You really had us going there," Kip says, as he and Abby follow you into the house. "I told you not to tell those stupid stories about the night and screaming armor," Abby scolds her brother. "You gave our cousin nightmares." After a good group laugh, the three of you head back to bed. When you hang your robe over your desk chair, you notice little prickly leaves stuck to it. "Huh?" you say. "Where did those leaves come from?" you wonder. "There aren't any prickly bushes like that around here. Maybe it wasn't a dream at all." You climb in bed and you pull your covers up to your chin. Your eyes are getting tired. You listen for a few seconds to hear if any noises are coming from the garage. Nothing. Not this time. But before? You think as your eyes finally close. Maybe. Oh well. "Good night," you say to no one in particular. "Evil night," replies a deep voice next to you on your pillow. You feel a gust of hot air on your face. The end. That was a good one. Evil night. Okay. Alright, we're going to redo the poll from earlier, but this time we're not going to put the Pixies back on there because Right Pixie was a dead end. But that's definitely, you're right. It's funny how all of these are tinged with eroticism. Okay, we're going to go back to poll. This time, our questions are: do you want to go back to the good or evil night? Do you want to go back to hedge or wait? Or do you want to go back to save our cousins? The choice is yours. So far, we've been going for about an hour. I'm not quite sure how long we're going to keep going, but I don't know if we'll manage to get the good ending. It's actually a lengthier book than you might think. It's got at least 100 pages. As the cover says, it has more than 20 different endings. Oh man, I like that ending. That was pretty funny. Pretty funny. That's what I was hoping we would get out of this book, to be honest. Alrighty, poll's about done. Let's see where we're going next. We are going to go and try to save our cousins. Alrighty, we can do it. Do be aware that it's going to take me a little bit to get back to where we were, so just grab yourself a snack if you don't have one and get comfy. Alright. Evil Knight. Let's see. Alright. Climb over to just about there. Okay, we're back where we were. I'm going to set the stage real quick. It's impossible to go over everything that had happened at this point, but know that you're in this valley full of stone people who have seemingly been transformed by the evil knight. And we are currently facing a situation where our cousins are at the bottom of the chasm, seemingly in peril because they're not responding to our voices. This time around, instead of going for the shimmering object at the top of the hill, we're going to see if we can save our cousins. Even if they don't deserve it. Your cousins could be in trouble. Kip and Abby could be turning to stone this very minute. Don't move, you yell down. I mean, do move if you can. I'm coming down to save you. You take one last glance at the shining object. Rock by rock, you backtrack the way you came. It's even harder to move downward, but there's no time to lose. Mostly, you try not to think about what these rocks and boulders used to be. You set your foot against what used to be someone's shoulder. It jiggles under your weight, and then it flips up. You tumble head first down the rocky slope. Ouch, ooh, ee, ow, you yelp with each bump. Finally, you land with a crash at your cousin's feet. You lie there among the rocks for a moment. Your head is still spinning from your fall. Are you all right? Abby asks. We saw the whole thing, Kip says with admiration. I give it a 10. You were fantastic. I thought you were turning to stone, you sputter. Ha, that's a good one, Abby laughs. We were just trying to keep still. We didn't want to start an avalanche while you were up there. Yeah, Kip explains. It's just like with snow. The slightest movement or sound might bring everything tumbling down. That's it. An avalanche! Kip, you're a genius, you exclaim. I am? He is. Abby looks amazed. An avalanche. That's the way to get that shimmering thing. It will help us. I just know. And if not, maybe an avalanche can help us get out of this horrible place, you explain. Before they can stop you, you pick up a good-sized rock and throw it as far as you can up the slope. Pieces of rock start to cascade down the rock face. You, Kip, and Abby scramble to the edge of the slope, out of the way. When the rumbling of the avalanche is done, you brush the dust off your face and glance around. In the light of the full moon, you see a trench in the middle of the hill. It worked, you shout. The avalanche has cleared a path. And look what I found, Kip says. He holds up a shiny metal key. It was right here, under this rock. Kip, you're a genius, you say again happily. Right, sheep and bushes are dangerous. Avalanche, helpful. The three of you make your way up the path, all the way up and over the top of the hill. Off in the distance, you see a cottage. It's that cottage, you say. Then you have an idea. The key. Maybe it fits the door to that cottage. After walking on all those rocking rocks, the trip to the cottage is easy. No pixies change your path. no sheep stampede. And so far, there's no evil night in sight. Hurry, you call to Kip and Abby. You move quickly and quietly along the dirt road to the cottage. When you're a few feet from it, you stop to look at the cottage more carefully. It's a small 2-story white house with a thatched roof. Oh, you want an A-Millier? Okay. We can bring up an A-Millier real quick. Let's see. Here we go. Unfortunately, he's a little bright. We're going to fix that right now. Let's see. Color correction. Boom. Here's my bunkmate, A-Millier. All right. Let's get back to it. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, yes. Hurry, you call to Kip and Abby. You move quickly and quietly along the dirt road to the cottage. When you're a few feet from it, you stop to look at the cottage more carefully. It's a small 2-story white house with a thatched roof. A garden of petunias and snapdragons lines the curved stone walkway leading to the heavy wooden door. I wonder who lives here, Abby asks. It's quite stylish, I guess, in an old-fashioned kind of way. She peeks in the windows. It's too dark in here, she whispers. I can't see a thing. You knock on the door. There's no answer. You knock harder. Still no answer. Try the key, Kip suggests. You put the silver key in the lock and try to twist your hand. The silver key fits perfectly into the lock, but it won't turn. I don't get it, you say. This lock looks like it should go... This key looks like it should go with this lock. No luck. You put the key back in your pocket. You step back from the door to search for another way in. Alright, let me stop right here. So what are the odds we're not going to ever use this key, that the book's just going to forget that it even gave us a key? Based on everything else that's happened, I'd say they're pretty darn high. But let's keep going. You step back from the door to search for another way in. As soon as you move away, the door slowly swings open. Come in, the voice of a very old man invites from somewhere inside the cottage. I've been waiting for you. Waiting for us, Abby stammers. She peers into the darkened doorway. But I don't see you, she says. Come closer, the old man says in a friendly voice. It's been so long since I've had any good company. The three of you step into the cottage. The door slams behind you. You can't help screaming. The slam of the door makes you scream. We didn't mean to scare you, it's the old man's voice. We, you ask? Did you say we? To answer your question, the old guy hobbles forward. You see his dusty boots emerge from the shadows. A pair of ragged canvas pants and a cardigan sweater with holes appear. Then you see his face. Talk about UGLY. He cackles as he glares at you from a wrinkled, mole-covered face. This guy must be 100 years old, and he's looking at you funny. Then something catches your eye. Something next to his grizzled old ear. It's another head! A horrible, wart-covered, puffy-eyed head with a squirming, dangling tongue. It's sticking out from the right side of his neck. You hear Abby squealing in terror. And there's another head on the other side, sticking out from his neck. As this one catches the light, you see a mouthful of slimy, rotting teeth. His bloodshot eyes roll around out of control. We didn't mean to scare you, the old man says. We meant to terrify you. All right, it's time for another poll. What a nice guy, right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. It's a weird question, but we're going to ask it. Are we going to run, or are we going to be completely frozen in terror? I have started the poll. You can choose now to be completely transfixed in horror by this man's terrible 3 heads. Yeah, good point, right? He's been waiting for company for a long time, and he's like 3 heads. So right now each of his 3 heads has a conversation partner. If we want to stick around, and I mean it is almost Halloween, so maybe we should just forgive him for trying to terrify us. Also, while I'm thinking about it, I need to start taking some notes as far as what pages these choices are on. So I will do so. Alright. Poll's almost over. Let's see what everyone wants to do. Do we stay or do we go? We are frozen in terror. All right. You know you should run, but for some reason your legs won't move. We're stuck, you yell. Stuck! You try to move your feet, but they're rooted to the ground. In fact, they're in the ground. Kip and Abby can't move either. Their feet are just as rooted as yours, and both of their bodies have started to turn green. They're getting thinner too, very, very thin. So are you. Old Mr. Triple-Decker is casting his favorite spell. He's mumbling some gibberish over there in the corner. You've become the latest addition to his garden. You look out from your petal-framed face, and you see the petunias and snapdragons you passed on your way in. Funny, now you notice they have faces. He got you too, I see, a purple petunia rooted next to you says. No one knows the evil he sows. Curses! Soiled again, a zinnia teases. He got all of us, Abby sighs from beneath her rose-petaled bonnet, but at least I'm a rose. Looks like you're grounded this time, but life in a wizard's garden can't be all bad. Who knows? It might even grow on you. The end. So, I'll offer another choice. I hope you enjoyed that ending. The 3-headed guy turned out to be just as evil as he appeared to be, unfortunately. It's just really funny in this when you catch, like you run into an evil guy who isn't even related to the Screaming Knight. It just tickles me. Okay, so the next question is, where to restart? Do we want to go back to Good or Evil Knight? Do we want to go back to, let's see, Return to Hedges? Or do we want to go back to the 3-headed man? Right, the flowers will just be out there making puns for the rest of their days. Okay, I'm going to make a poll, and there you go. Yes. So anyways, we've got 3 choices here. We've cleared 3 different endings so far. This is the first one that doesn't really have like that much sexual tension to it. At least we've got that. Or is an ending better if it does have those kinds of jokes we can make about it? Hard to say. Ho, ho, ho. All right. Yeah, I think the finding out the knight was sleeping on your bed was actually still my favorite as well. I'll agree with you there. Alright, we're going to return to the hedges and try returning literally into the hedges. Give me just a moment, I'm going to get us back there. And while I'm on my way there, I'll try to collect a few more choice pages where we can choose different options. Let's see. Just settle in and get cozy, and I'll have us there in a moment. Let's see. I'm making some notes this time around so that our next return will be a little bit quicker. Alright. This time around, instead of waiting to see that weird black mist roll over the hill, this is the point at which we have just escaped the hedge mage. We're going to assume that's the evil knight, and we're going to return to the hedges instead. Let's see where that puts us. There's no way you're waiting around to see what got those hedgehogs so spooked. There's no telling when the evil knight might show up again. Back into the hedges it is. Anything's better than facing that horrible hunk of screaming armored junk, you say. But the hedges have already grown over the hole you broke through. You try pulling the thick brushes apart. Your fingers are scraped and swollen. It's no use trying to pull the hedge apart. We're going to have to try smashing through again. You link arms and turn your backs to the high hedges. On the count of 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Altogether, you crash back through the hedge. You land with a thud. The ground is awfully hard. You look around and discover the strangest thing yet. When you glance around, you are shocked to see you're back in your own garage. Everything is familiar. 2 giant crates stand in front of you. One labeled Evil Knight, the other one Good Knight. The garage isn't the only thing that's familiar. Everything you're saying and hearing is familiar too, at least for a moment. Then it all starts to seem normal again. Which one shall we open, you say nervously. Neither, Kip replies. He seems terrified, maybe a little too terrified. You're not sure you buy all this cursed stuff. Maybe it's all a big trick. Kip and Abby could have gotten someone to shout and shake the evil crate around. Who's really in that evil knight crate anyway, you wonder? Then again, those screams do sound pretty spooky. Maybe you should play it safe and open the crate marked Good Knight. A suit of armor could come in handy if there's some crazy curse. I'm going to put a poll up, but I want to tell you something interesting here. The pages that we can choose to turn to for Good Knight or Evil Knight may not be the same pages as they were originally. Something is a little tricky here, I think. But you have your choice. You can choose Good Knight or Evil Knight. I have started the poll and the choice is yours. I'm also going to go ahead and mark this choice down so we can return to it later if we want to. It's kind of weird. It sure likes shooting us out of this dream back into the waking world confusingly quite often here. It's almost like a running theme of this one. No, it's actually capitalized as part of the label anytime we see it. So, if that affects your choice, just know. Okay, we're going for Evil Knight again. See what we got. Evil. Let's read. Okay, the fun's over, you declare. You move over to the crate marked Evil Knight and starting to loosen the straps holding it shut. It's still shaking a little, but the screaming has died down to a faint moan. You really had me going there for a minute, you continue. Those screams sounded pretty scary, and all that moaning and shaking, wow, you guys are good. Kip and Abby look as if they don't know what you're talking about, but you know better. Who did you get to help you with this little prank anyway? My dad, you ask? Your dad is just the sort of goofball to go in for something like this, too. You fumble with the leather straps, but you finally get them undone. By now you're chuckling to yourself. It really was a good prank, complete with these oversized crates. Still, you can't believe you fell for it. Speaking of falling, that's what the front door to the crate does next. It's also what your lower jaw does. It falls open. You try to scream, but all that comes out is a little whimper. There in front of you, about a foot from your face, you stare into the laser-light eyes of the knight in screaming armor. Okay, we appear to have looped back to the front, so basically, going backward into the hedges just launches you back to the very start of the book. I don't know why. It's a little weird. We're back at the pages that we've already read before. I'm just going to skip forward a little bit until we get to something that we haven't already read before. Give me just a moment. Yes, a recurring nightmare. I see what you did there. Okay, so our next choice that comes up that we haven't tried before, I'm just going to go and pick it for us since we are looping here, is to try to find our way out of the maze instead of trying to break through the maze. Let's see what happens. So you think you're good at mazes, huh? Try to get yourself out of this one. Pick up a pencil and try to draw the escape route out of the maze below. Can you do it on your first try? Okay, everyone give me a second. I'm going to confirm that I can solve this maze real quick. Actually, I'm not going to because it's going to take a really long time. I can already tell. Oh wait, no, I did it. Okay. I did it. You're going to have to trust me on this one, but I did manage to do it just now. I'm a genius. I'm a master puzzler. Okay, if you make it through, hooray for you. Face your next challenge on page 75. If you didn't make it through, read your fate on page 65. Okay, so here's your choice. Did AIM solve the maze? Yes, I believe him. Or nope, that lie. We're going to start the poll. It's up to you to decide. Do you believe that I solved the maze just now? Or do you think that, perhaps spurred by the fact that the maze was going to take a while to solve, I decided to not solve the maze and just say that I'd solved it so we could go on to the next page, because I hadn't realized there was a choice at the end here yet. It's up to you, faithful viewers. I'm going to take a quick drink of water. All right. It's almost time to see our fate. Did we solve the maze? Yes. Did we not solve the maze and lie and say we did? Okay, so one of you believes me and one of you doesn't. That means we're going to have to flip a coin. The coin says that I did solve the maze, so ha ha. I solved it. Truth be told, I actually did solve the maze. You might not believe me, but I did. Okay, we're going on. The hedges are behind you. That's true. The hedges are behind you, the green hills are in front of you. There's a warm wind in your face, and something is coming over those hills. So basically what it's done is put us back to the point where the black mist is rolling forward. It's basically the equivalent of if you decided to wait there for the night to show up. However, we do have another choice here that we did not choose earlier. The choice is when the night pushes us back into that hedge and we're falling, we can choose to land on a chair that has a cushion. So why don't we try that real quick while we're here? The other option, just to remind you, was to land on a chair with no cushion. Land somewhere with no cushion and no chair because it was that weird rocky hill where all those stone people are. Okay, but this time we're going to try landing on a chair and just see. Yeah, I have a feeling it might loop us into being injured. We'll see. All right. Thump. You land on something soft. It's a body, a human body. Oomph. Please get off of me this instant. A regal-looking boy dressed in tights and puffy shorts pushes you, Kip, and Abby off of him. You all stand up and dust yourselves off. Who are you? You ask the boy. He looks your age. I am a page, answers the boy. Page 48 in a class of 144. To explain the joke real quick, I am currently reading page 48 of a 144-page book. A page, Abby asks. What's a page? We are knights in training, the boy answers proudly. And we're trying to get away from a knight, says Abby. Can you show us the way out of here? Kip asks. Page 48 points to a gate that opens by itself. That's the way out, he says. It's the Valley of Rocks. Hurry, you order Abby and Kip. The gate is closing. You make it through just as the gate crashes down behind you. You look back. Page 48 is gone. All you see before you is a night sky and a strange, mysterious valley full of rocks. So basically we're back to the rock valley again. We're going to make our way through here. We're going to scramble to help the cousins because the other way's a dead end. This is going to take us, I believe, back to the three-headed man. Okay, so to set the setting, we have encountered a three-headed man inside a cottage. He doesn't seem to be related to the evil knight, but he is nonetheless evil and will turn us into petunias and various other plants if we sit there and regard him in terror. So this time, we're going to try running instead and see what happens. Leaving the three-faced monster behind, the three of you lunge for the back door of the cottage. Locked again? You cry, shaking the handle furiously. You'll take your chances on Frozen again? Okay. You fumble in your pocket, pull out the key, and put it in the lock. Just as you feel the key start to turn, you hear the monster trio chanting a series of mumbo-jumbo words. Slizzlewick, Whizzaslick, Haggledy-zee, make 3 into 1 with the turn of the key. The key turns. The door opens. The three of you push against each other, trying to be the first one out. You push. Kip pushes harder. Abby pushes hardest. She pushes too hard. The monster's spell has worked. All that pushing squashes your bodies together into one. Pop, you fall outside. But the turn of the key has made you into a three-faced, one-bodied monster, just like the old man. All you know is 2 heads may be better than 1, but 3 heads add up to one big headache. The Get 3-headed, I guess. Alright, so, yeah, that's the end. That's the end. We're a 3-headed person now. You have to be a 3-headed person with Abby, so that's pretty much the end of it. Okay, so we're gonna look over our options again. Yeah, I know. That one was a little frustrating. I'll put up our options here. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Being 3-headed isn't necessarily like an end there. I have a feeling that there should be like a continuation, but whatever. We'll have to write it in our heads. Okay, I'm going to put up another poll, and we'll decide where to go next. This time I've written down some page numbers, so it'll be a little easier. Our options are, we can either try ignoring or try answering the scream at the front of the book. We can try choosing the good knight instead of the evil knight. Or we can return to the maze and say that I'm a liar and didn't solve it. I have started the poll. It is up to you to decide our fate. I wonder if we're going to manage to get a good ending on this tonight. I kind of hope so. But I have a feeling that the good ending is probably pretty deep in there, so maybe not. I might have to turn this into 2 streams instead of just 1. I don't know. If you actually solved the maze, we would have been out of here by now. No, solving the maze just put us back in that stupid rocky valley, which we now know to be entirely dead ends. Well, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm glad you two have joined me for this. It's been a lot of fun to read along with people. See what you guys pick. Alright, let's see what the poll has said. You failed the maze, haha. Okay, we'll go see what happens when I fail the maze. We're going to page 51. And now we did not make it through, so we're going to read our fate on page 65. You and your cousins are desperate. You've tried for days to find your way out of the maze of hedges. No luck. You're weak, tired, and most of all, hungry. That's when you kind of lose it. You never make it out of the hedges alive. And years later, your bodies are absorbed into the fertile soil. The roots of the hedges find you very tasty. Basically, you're plant food. The end. I hope you're happy with yourself. So, the only choices, I think we've just about run this pick the evil knight crate thing about as far as it's going to go. So, but we do have a choice here. I'm just going to make a very quick poll. Yeah, this time we're plant food. We're food for all the other plants. It's funny because I thought they were implying some form of cannibalism was about to happen, but that did not turn out to be the case. Okay, so our choices are, I'm going to make this a real quick one. We can either choose to go back and answer the scream from the start of the book, or we can choose the good or evil knight. I'll leave it up to you. I should mention, if nobody votes on one, I'll just pick one myself. If anybody was wondering what happens if you decide to just tab away or something, I'm not going to just be frozen here, so don't worry. It's been goofy, but it's been a wild ride so far. Lots of fun. Alright, let's see what you folks think. Our next course of action is to go back and try answering the screen. Alrighty, let's do it. I think the easiest way will just be to go back to the title page and scroll our way over. Give me one moment. Alright, so to set the stage, when you're at the start of the book, your character is trying to sleep, and they hear a chilling shriek in the night. So far, we've tried to ignore the scream, but this time we're going to try investigating. Scream! Another shriek fills the night. Kip and Abby are as wide awake as you are. The piercing screams draw the three of you together at your bedside. You grab each of your cousins by the hand. We have to go out to the garage and investigate, you declare. We have to find out what's out there. Another scream pierces the air. Abby forgets how much cooler than you she is for a moment and clutches one of your arms. Okay, so basically this is going to turn us back into approaching the crates. So, I'm sorry folks, we're pretty much stuck. We've got to try the good night crate. Our evil night days are about over. Let's try the good night crate, because that's the only choice I still know where it is. We'll open the good night crate, you decide. Oh yeah, what if there is no good ending? I guess that's completely possible. The best ending we're going to get is getting to sleep with the evil night, I suppose. You don't want to take any chances, but as soon as you say this, an ear-splitting scream fills the garage. The evil night crate starts rattling again. The armor inside clanks and rumbles and roars. You cling to Kip, or is it Abby? It's hard to tell in the darkness. The tall, evil night crate rocks closer to you. It tips backward and forward. It falls on you. You'll be crushed. You try to pull your cousins out of the way. Let's bail, you yell. But you only get a few steps towards the garage door when something blocks your escape route. A horrible beast, Kip cries. Ah! Abby screams as she's jerked from your side. You accidentally drop your flashlight and it hits the concrete floor with a smack. There's something wrapped around my leg, Abby wails. Abby, you shout across to her. You start to move to her side, but you feel sharp claws scrape across your cheek. You jump back and grab your cheek where claws scraped you. You feel a large welt. You turn away from Abby and grope along the wall until you find the light switch. Click. One bare bulb hanging from the ceiling floods the garage with a dim light. Suddenly, everything gets quiet. Now you see it. The monster blocking your escape route is a lawnmower. The sharp-nailed fingers that raked across your cheek are exactly what they felt like. A garden rake, and the snake coiled so tightly around Abby's leg is just a hose. I knew it all along, Abby says as she throws the hose aside. This whole thing is ridiculous. But it isn't over yet. Whatever's in the evil night crate demands your attention. The crate lurches forward, knocking Abby to the ground. This makes no sense, but I'll keep reading anyway. The hanging light bulb starts to spin. Kip struggles to lift his sister to her feet. He looks really scared now. It's going to be up to you to do something, but what? Should you open the evil knight's crate and confront the enemy, whatever it is? Maybe it's all just a practical joke. You wouldn't put it past Kip, would you? Then again, maybe there really is a Curse. If there is, maybe whatever's in the crate marked Good Night could help you. You better open one of them. Which will it be? So it's put us back at the choice of whether to open the Evil Night or the Good Night crate, which means if we continue to try to open the Good Night crate, the Evil Night crate is going to knock us over again and again infinitely. We're going to get scratched in the darkness and find it was only a rake infinitely, and we're going to have to decide which crate to open infinitely. This choice loop is not exactly the best generated that I've ever seen. Just to confirm this, I'm going to go through the Good Night crate again. We have to free the Good Night, you yell over the screams and the heavy clanking. Maybe it can help us fight the Curse. But, Kip sputters fearfully. Just open the thing, Abby snaps, and get it over with. Your fingers fly over the buckled leather straps that hold the crate closed. I've got the strap at the bottom, Kip says, moving in next. Yeah, I think actually this is a different page. I think they tricked me by... They picked pages that are close to the other story, but not exactly. Huh. Abby just watches you work. You and Kip work together to pry open one side of the crate. The clanking is louder than ever as the crate door slams to the floor. You pick up your flashlight and shine it inside. Abby is the first to gasp. You peer into the open crate. There's a flash of light, and then... There's nothing in this crate, you exclaim. I thought you said there was armor in here. There was, Abby huffs, acting cool again, but now it's gone, okay? That's impossible, Kip argues. This crate weighed a ton when we moved it here. Abby glances back at the empty crate. Someone must have taken the armor, that's all. For crying out loud. Oops, wrong thing to say. Yee-ha-ha-ha-ha! The bone-chilling scream of the evil knight turns to hideous, wicked laughter. It's the Curse! The evil knight killed Sir Edmund Saxton, and now he's taken his armor. What's next, you say in disbelief? Or who? Then you see something. There, resting on the floor of the crate, a jagged piece of parchment paper. Do you pick it up? The Curse thing is seeming less and less silly by the second. Alright, so here's our poll. Question is, pick up the paper or not? We can pick up the paper and see what it says. Or we can decide this whole business is too weird for your taste and it's time to close the crate back up again and call the police. The choice is yours. I'm going to make a note that we were at page 50 here so that we can choose to go back here if we want to. All right. I'll take a quick drink of water. We're at about 2 hours now. I figure we'll get at least a couple more endings. I can probably go for another hour, but we will see. Let's see. We already broke a crate in here. I'm not letting this place get messy. I see. You're trying to minimize property damage. What a good citizen. Okay, so it's a choice. Pick up or a closed crate, call police. We will see which fate has decided for us. We are picking up the paper for now. Alrighty, let's try it out. You bend down and pick up the jagged-edged piece of parchment. There's writing on it. "Hey, look what I found," you exclaim. It's a note, or a piece of one. You read it. "Only a knight and Saxton born can break the curse that now we mourn. But they who wear Sir Edmund's steel must prove their courage and strength are real. Before the break of day brings light, one good shall fight one evil knight." That's funny. It sounds like a challenge. "How boring," Abby complains. "They who wear Sir Edmund's steel," you read again. "What do you think that means?" "The armor," Kip replies. "Sir Edmund's armor." "But it's gone," you point out. "That scrap of paper looks like it's been torn from something," Kip adds. "If we could find more pieces of the poem, maybe we can figure out where the missing armor is. It's like a puzzle." "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard," Abby says. Then she rubs her eyes. "I'm sleepy." Kip yawns a big yawn. You feel it too. An overwhelming urge to fall asleep. You let yourself curl up on the floor and... Alright, it's time for another choice. Let's see what we got. Your choice this time around is... Do you want to wake up alone, or do you want to wake up with your cousins? Fall into the tender, loving arms of the evil knight. Let's see, alone with cousins. Alright, choice is yours. Reader beware, you're in for escape. So do we want to ditch our cousins, or do we want to keep this a family outing? It's all up to you. Even if we're alone, we'll never truly be alone, because I have a feeling the evil knight will still be there. But let's see what you folks think. Which will it be? Oh, you know what? I don't think I have the music going anymore, do I? It seems like it stopped for some reason. Why did it stop? Okay, we got a little bit of music again. It's quiet, but it's there. Alright, so you folks decided you want to go it alone, no cousins. Gotcha. Okay. Give me one moment and I'll flip over. You wake up all right, but the minute you open your eyes, you know something is very wrong. It's dark all around you. You have no idea where you are. Even if you could see, your head feels too heavy to turn and glance around. "Kip? Abby?" you call out. Your own voice echoes back to you. You try to lift your hand and can't budge it. You try to move your leg. You can't. Your heart starts to race. "Kip! Abby!" you yell this time, but there's nothing. Only the feeling that you are trapped, weighted down. Your skin feels coated with something heavy and hard, like iron, or like a suit of armor, you scream. You hear the blood rushing in your ears. Or is it laughter? Now you remember everything. You were feeling so sleepy, but just before you fell asleep, the evil knight's voice filled your head. "Be all the evil you can be. Join my army." While you slept, the evil knight made you one of his evil guards. You'll have to serve his evil wishes for the rest of your evil little life. You were the evil knight the whole time. Good. Okay, So that was the evil Garrett ending for you. Strange. Weird. But okay. We have a choice now. Shoot. You know what? I don't think I recorded what page that last one was on, unfortunately. So, but I think we can get back to it easily enough. So I'll give you two choices. We can either choose to go back to where we picked up the paper and call the police instead, or we can choose to go back and wake up with our cousins. Start poll. This is a poll that seems pretty bad out of context. You can choose either call the police or wake up with your cousins. You decide. I'm going to take a little drink of water. In fact, why don't I give us a quick be right back, because I need to refill my water as well. Okay, I am back. Switch back up. And here we are. Alright, so let's see what you decided. Couldn't quite make the split decision, so we're going to have to do a coin flip. Let's see what we got. Coin flip says we're going to call the police. Okay, let's go back and see what that yields us. That's page 50. Alright, so to set the stage, we just heard the knight give some creepy laughter, and we saw a page fall to the floor. It seemed to have a poem on it. Well, actually, I shouldn't talk about that because sometimes it changes entirely between two routes. So, just know that a paper has fallen to the floor, but this whole business is too weird for us, so we're going to go call the police instead. Alright, enough already. This is getting a little too weird for me, you say. It's time to call the police. Chicken, Abby mocks you. You just ignore her. But only a Saxton can break the curse, Kip reminds you. The police won't be able to do anything. Well, I, for one, am willing to let them try. You shove the good night crate door closed and start buckling the leather straps. Then the loudest scream of the night fills the air, followed by a crunching noise. You whirl around to look, and your heart almost leaps out of your chest. The evil knight has crashed out one of his armored arms through the other wooden crate. A thick-fingered, steely armored glove gleams in the dim light, and it's gripping Abby's slender neck. Abby! Kip cries as he watches his sister twist in the grasp of the evil knight. Help me! Abby cries in terror. Crash! The evil knight's other armored arm rips through the wooden slats of the crate and wraps around Abby's body. You and Kip scream in a harmony of horror. Any hopes you had of helping Abby vanish as the knight continues crashing through the wooden prison. Nothing can stop him now. He's going to destroy all that is good, and that means you. Cover your eyes. Don't look. This is going to be too terrible to watch. Evil spelled backwards is live. which is one thing you won't be when the knight in screaming armor is done with you. The I should have said spelled backwards is live, but I didn't have the full context of the sentence. Okay. Suffice to say, we were killed by the evil knight. By the knight in screaming armor, trademark. Okay, so we're going to go back. I don't have any other options to offer you right now. We're going to have to just go back and redo the part where we pick up the paper. And this time we're going to have to wake up with our cousins because there doesn't seem to be any other way to proceed. Alright, so to set the stage, one second. Yeah. To set the stage, the paper fell on the ground after we heard the laughter of the evil knight. We picked up the paper and we discovered a riddle on it. The riddle seemed to imply that we would need to become worthy of a suit of good armor. But before we could do anything with that information, we began to fall asleep. This time we are awakening with our cousins. You wake up. The last thing you remember is finding the piece of parchment that said, "Before the break of day brings light, one good shall fight one evil knight." You rub your eyes to clear the sleep out of them. You see Kip and Abby, but you're not in the garage anymore. A bare bulb hangs from a wire in the ceiling. It casts a sickly yellow-brown tint over the enormous cavern of a room. The walls and ceilings are the color of mud. At least we're still together, you say. But where are we? Abby asks. Hello? Is anybody there? No one answers. The air is musty and stale. It reminds you of something. In fact, it's just like the air in the old museum you went to on a school field trip last month. Then you see the muddy sign on one wall, the medieval museum. Hey, you shout excitedly, we're downtown. This is the museum where your dad is supposed to speak next week. Museum? Abby shouts back at you. There's nothing here. Her mouth is open when a great splat of mud hits her right in the face. Thwack! Abby sputters as she wipes globs of thick brown mud from her mouth and eyes. Now she sees what you and Kip already see. The walls are alive! Short, square-bodied mud beasts step out from the dirt-colored walls. They start flinging handfuls of thick, oozing mud. Thwap! A glob catches you in the ear. Thwank! A fistful of the well-packed mud covers Kip's sandy hair and slides down over his eyes. What's happening? Kip cries. Thwap! Comes the answer in the form of a special delivery mudogram. The oozy mud in your ear starts to harden and crack. You rip at it with your fingers. Scoinch! You're caught in the stomach by another mud glob. It hardens on contact. It makes it difficult to breathe. You've got to get out of here. The mudslingers gang up on Abby. They swing their gorilla arms and pack more solid mud balls to throw at her. I should take a second to mention, if I find that I don't know where any more choices are, then I'm also moving on from the book because I'm not going to just climb all through the book trying to find the choice I missed. They do what they're doing. Yes. That's what it is. Abby sobs as one hard mud ball nails her in the knee. Why me? Why me? She screams, clutching her bashed knee. You want to help Abby. She's clutching her knee in agony. But before you can comfort Abby, you've got a new problem of your own. Another mudslinger slides out of the wall and stomps towards you. The broad, blubber-lipped creature is so close you can smell his oozy stench. You cough and sputter. Disgusting streams of muddy liquid ooze from his yellow eyes and flaring nostrils. Right behind him is another mudslinger, and another, and another. Alright, we've got two options here. Here are options. Do you feel hopelessly walled in by the mound of menacing mudslingers? Or do you pull yourself out of this muddy mess? I'll start the poll. The mudslingers don't seem to be terribly related to the knight in screaming armor to me. I don't really know what's happening at this point. But we must conquer them if we hope to move on. Or perhaps we must not conquer them. How are you feeling? Hopeless? Not so hopeless? A glimmer of hope, perhaps? We will see. Alright, poll's ending. What did you decide? Feeling hopeless. I can't blame you. I can't blame you. Alright, let's see what we find. Splat, thwack, swack. The mudslingers throw their mud faster than you can wipe it away. Abby gives up. She's standing facing one muddy wall with her hands up over her mud-covered eyes. The monsters stand in front of her like a firing line. They scoop up new mud and pelt her. You watch in horror as the flung mud covers every inch of her clothing, hair, and skin. In no time, Abby is completely flattened into the mud-covered wall. In another second, it's impossible to see where Abby ends and the wall begins. She is the wall. Kip, you shout. Kip, where are you? While you were watching Abby being mudified, Kip was being plastered to another wall. Only his eyes peer out at you. Then schwap, he's gone. You lunge toward the wall where Kip was. You scrape at the hardening mud. You try to say, Kip, but all that comes out of your mouth is a burbling mud burp. Swat! A warm mud ball plasters you in the back. You fall face first into the wall of muck. There's actually another page. A pair of mud-slimed arms push out of the wall. They wrap around you, holding you in place. The mud balls fly at you faster and harder. Splat! Your head is covered. Whack! Your arms are covered. Chwop! Ka-chink! Schwack! The thick sludge mud covers all of you. Your mud-encased body stiffens as the ooze hardens. Welcome to the dirty world of the evil knight and his army of mudslingers. They always fight dirty, and they always win in the end. And that's the end. Welcome to the army of mudsling. Okay, let's go back, and the only other choice I know of is to not feel hopeless against the mudslingers. We'll try that out next. Yeah, the knights seem to have quite an array of armies and powers, that's for sure. But I gather most of the Goosebump books are kind of like this. They feature a lot of characters and settings and scenarios, sometimes kind of rambling, but it's been pretty funny all the time. So I'm okay with it. Let's try pulling ourselves out of the mud and see what happens. Alright, so to set the scene, we have just arrived at the medieval museum. We are surrounded by goopy creatures called mudslingers, and they mean us harm. There's no way you're going to just stand here and be mudified by a tribe of mud-slinging mud monsters. Come on, you shout. You duck a far-flung mud pie aimed right for your face. We're getting out of here. Which way is out? Abby cries. She throws her hand up and blocks a blob of ooze. As she blocks the blob, you notice the light from the bare bulb swinging right through the mudslinger. Suddenly, an idea clicks in your mind. I've got a hunch this is just one big, dirty trick being played on us by the evil knight, you guess. You're not paying me enough to not put my mudslingers in this voice time. Okay, good. These mudslingers aren't real. They've been planted in our minds by the powers of the night. The light shines right through them. Watch. You reach for the biggest, muddiest mass of glop and grab it by the neck. Your hands sink down into his shoulders. Still, you manage to lift the barrel-bodied beast up over your head. Yeah, we're reading some Goosebumps tonight. we've been through quite a lot of bad ends so far. But now, if you so choose, you can take part in a choice. First of all, I'm going to explain what your choice is. All right. So, do we want to hold the mud beast up to the light, or do you want to throw it down into the ground? It's your choice. Poll is up now. Feel free to vote, and we will see which is the most popular answer. So yeah, we've had all kinds of endings by now. I think the fan favorite is an ending where it all seemed to be a dream, and then you end up lying down on a pillow, and you say good night to no one in particular, and you hear the voice say, "Evil Knight," out of the darkness, implying that you were sleeping with the evil knight. It's the funniest ending. All right, let's see what you folks are up to. Do you want to expose the mud creatures to the light? Or do you want to give them an old wrestling schoolboy slam? We'll see. What's it going to be? The answer is we're going to hold it up into the light. That does seem to make sense. But we may return back here later. All right. Your hunch is right. When you hold the muddy glop up to the light, it disappears. You grab another mudslinger, hold it up, look right through it, and it too is gone. Now Kip and Abby are snagging mudmen too. One by one, the grubby gremlins are grabbed and held up to the light. Soon the whole muddy mass of them disappears, and the wall turns white. You and your cousins fall in a heap on the floor. Whew! Kip tries to catch his breath. Was that close or what? And totally disgusting, Abby adds. I appreciate a good mud facial as much as the next girl, but that was ridiculous. It was a pretty dirty trick. You actually agree with Queen Abby for a change. But now what? We still haven't found that missing armor. Do we just walk on out of here and go home? You said it, cousin. Abby is not too worried about any missing suits of armor. I don't know, Kip says. Dad is going to go berserk when he finds out we lost the Sir Edmund suit. We'll be here next week. If we don't find it, I don't want him to be the one to open the door for him. Speaking of doors, Abby interrupts, look over there. There's a whole wall of doors. One of them has to be the way out of this stuffy room. It does seem a little funny to me that they're worried about what their dad's going to do to him when we've got the evil knight creating illusions of mud monsters. But let's see what happens next. Abby rushes towards the wall of doors. She's just about to reach the handle on the first door when her foot slips on something. Another piece of parchment, she cries out. You and Kip run to join her. She holds a jagged-edged scrap of parchment in her hands. It's just like the other one you found. She reads it to you. Beware his deadly charge and feel. That's it. That's all it says. There's got to be more, you insist. Deadly charge, Abby repeats. I know about charging things. Sounds like somebody's going to be doing some killer shopping. Very funny, Kip says sarcastically. Maybe not to a jerk like you, Abby shoots back. Oh yeah, Kip threatens. Good comeback, Abby taunts. Hey, hold it, you say. We need to work together here. These scraps of paper are obviously meant to be clues. I've got a feeling they'll lead us to the missing armor if we pay attention. Until then, anything could happen. I think that gathering the scraps seems like a good sign, like maybe we're on the right track to the right end. But we'll see. You take the other scrap of parchment out of your pocket and try to fit the two pieces together. None of the edges match up. Never mind that stupid puzzle, Abby bursts out. I want out of here now. Without waiting another second, Abby runs to the other side of the room and tries the knob on the first door. But as she turns it, the door disappears and becomes a solid white wall. She tries the next door. Gone. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Gone, gone, gone. Right from under her hand. If the doors keep disappearing, we'll be stuck in here forever, Kip says in a panic. We have to get out, you shout, and fast. Look! Those walls are closing in on us. We'll be crushed. Inch by inch, the floor space narrows. The walls are grinding in on your little group. Try another door, Abby, Kip screams as the wall behind him pushes against his back. The room is shrinking. We'll be squashed like bugs. Evil laughter booms through the shrinking room. He's here, Abby shrieks. The knight in screaming armor. He's here. You can't see the evil knight, but you know he's here somewhere. His hideous laughter turns to screams and then back to laughter again. This shrinking room is a tiny torture chamber, and it's getting tinier by the second. You brace yourself against one of the advancing walls in a frantic attempt to hold it back. You strain against it with all of your strength. Ah, you yell as your muscles begin to burn and ache. Try another door, Abby, you gasp out. Quick! But Abby is paralyzed with fear. She doesn't move a muscle. Your ear is pushed up against the crushing wall. There's a terrible grinding sound behind it. Your feet start to skid and slip. The door, Kip, the door, you scream. But there are 2 doors left, Kip cries. Which door should I open? The right one, you yell back. Open up the right one. Now we have another choice. That choice is, do you want to try the door on the right, or do you want to try the door on the left? Right or left? Starting the poll. If it means anything to you, this one is phrased, if the door on the right is the right one, turn to page 42. If the door on the left is the right one, turn to page 59. The book really loves these left or right choices. Simple games of chance. Let's see, Labyrinthian rules. Always hug left. You may have a point. The left way was actually better than the right way with the pixies earlier, so maybe. Who knows? Although both of them were dead ends in the end. Alright, let's see if you guys are feeling lefty or righty. Which door will we choose? Alright, we have chosen the left door. That's the one we're going to go for. Let's see what's behind the left door. Kip decides the right door is the left one. He reaches for the handle on the left. When his hand is only inches from it, sparks fly off the handle. Kip jumps back. "Whoa, it's electrically charged," he cries. You stop holding the walls apart long enough to reach for the door handle. More sparks shoot into the air. A rapid-fire zapping noise crackles around you. It sounds like the bug zapper on the roof of the Dairy Queen on a muggy summer night. Huh. Who knows what the roof of a Dairy Queen sounds like? That's a weird one. You try the door one more time. Zap! A charge of electrical current sputters and sparks, first around Abby, then around you, finally around Kip. The three of you light up like electric lawn ornaments at Christmas time. Abby's long blonde hair stands straight up. Sparks fly from each individual strand. She's a human firecracker, and so are you and Kip. You try to turn back and escape the shock treatment, but you have no choices, Yeah, that was a weird name drop now that you mention it. The Dairy Queen sponsorship. The electrical charge fuses you, Kip, and Abby together. You can't pull yourselves apart. With the roof now the size of a walk-in closet and getting smaller by the second, you can barely move. Each movement causes a shower of new spark to rain down over your heads. You can't even stretch your arms up enough to shelter yourselves from the biting, burning sparks. All you can do is wait. You hope the sparks and the deadly charge surging through you will stop before it's too late. Zzz, 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 zzz. You try to speak, but the only thing coming out of your mouth are sparks. Zzz, zzz. Abby adds her two sparks. Zzz, zzz. Kip sparks loudest of all. Wow, so it sounds like you guys are turning into like electric versions of me. We'll see. He's holding up the second piece of parchment with the warning about his deadly charge. If you could talk, you would remind Kip. You already saw that piece of the puzzle. You figure that this electrically charged state you're all in is what the piece of parchment warned you about. Kip waves the parchment at you. Zzz, zzz, he says. Zzz, zzz, you agree. Sure, you'll take another look at the piece of parchment. You try to see through all the sparks to what is written there. Here's the real shocker. New words have appeared. You read to yourself, "Beware his deadly charge and feel that what is now is not what's real." Aha! Now you get it. We've got another choice here, surprisingly. I thought we were dead for sure, but we are not. Let's see what we want to do next. Our question is what we get, what we see, or is what you get what you wish you never saw? Alright, starting the poll. This is a tough one. I thought we would have an easier answer here, but both of the answers sound pretty bad. I'm not even sure what I would choose if I was in your situation. You got a little tougher than I do. Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I thought that we were dead like 2 pages ago here. I was really surprised when this one kept going. Strange. But let's see. Do you folks want what you see, or do you want what you wish you never saw? Which will it be? We have decided what you wish you never saw. All right. You read the words of the new puzzle piece again. That what is now is not what's real. You don't know what this means yet, but you do know you have to get out of this room now. Zzz, Kip sparks. Zit, 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 Abby adds. They think they have figured something out. They want to know what is happening now. You cannot answer it now because you understand what this puzzle piece means. There never is a now. As soon as now comes, it becomes then. In the split second that is now, you know one thing. There is no escaping this place now. There is no now. Just as you're about to escape now, now is then, and then your chances of leaving are gone. You and Kip and Abby are stuck in the never-ending land of now. The awful truth is closing in on you, and so are the walls. What is now is not what's real. But what is real is that for you and Kip and Abby, now is the end. Yeah, we were defeated by facts and logic from the night. The knight was a bit of a smart aleck on this one, if you ask me. Okay, so I'm going to put up another poll, and we're going to decide which part we want to go back to, because we've got a couple of options now. We can go back and try to body slam one of the mudslingers. We can go back and choose the right door instead of the left door. Or we can go back to the shock door and try answering the riddle differently. I'll start the poll and we'll see which you folks want to do. We managed to rack up quite a few choices there before our untimely death. So there are many options. Let's see, we're about 2.5 hours now. I think at 3 hours I really probably have to stop, but we'll see how far we can get before then. I might continue reading this the next time to see if we can get an ending, but I'm not sure. I might rather start a new one just to keep things fresh for people who are coming in for the first time. Unless you folks really want to end the, read the end of the Screaming Knight, which is fine. I might put a poll on Twitter or something and see what people think. Or maybe everyone will surprise me and we'll get it tonight. Who knows? Alright, we're going back to the shock door riddle and we're going to see what we can find with the other answer. Give me 1 moment. That's page 91. Okay, so to set this stage real quick, the riddle says, beware his deadly charge and feel that what is now is not what's real. We are going to answer this time, what you get is what you see. Yes, now you get it. It's starting to make sense. You know you have to act now or you'll either be fried or crushed by the walls. The electrical charge flowing through you is so strong you're lit up like a light bulb or like an X-ray. You stare down at your hands. You can see your bones. You dare at a glance at Kip and Abby. You scream in horror when you see them. They're electrified skeletons. With sparks zapping and zizzing every second, you pull the other piece of parchment back out of your pocket. These are the clues, you think. There has to be a way to escape. Before the break of day brings light, one good shall fight one evil knight. Beware his deadly charge and feel that what is now is not what's real. That what is now is not what's real. You think harder. That what is now is not what's real. The words scream in your head. You forced yourself to know that what is happening now is not what's real. That what is happening now is not what's real, you repeat in your head. Louder, harder, concentrate. That what is now is not what's real. Then a miracle happens. The shrinking room starts getting bigger again. Slowly it returns to normal size. The lightning bolt outlines around each cousin fade to a dim glow and then disappear. so philosophically. Just like the mudslingers, you declare, another trick of our imaginations. This evil knight likes to play mind games, I'm afraid. You're afraid, Abby sputters. She tries to smooth down her flyaway hair. I'm terrified. I may never get my hair to curl after this. As if in response to Abby's complaint, the only remaining door swings open. By itself, out comes a voice that makes the blood curdle in your veins. It's the voice of the evil knight, and he's whispering your name. He's calling your name, Abby warns. He's after you. Abby, calls the deep and dangerous sounding voice of the evil knight. Kip. The voice booms again from somewhere in the next room. He calls your name again. Come forward, the evil knight commands. Suddenly, you feel a tremendous sense of curiosity. What could this evil knight possibly have in mind for you? You feel your feet take a step forward. Don't do it. Don't go through that door, Abby begs you. Come forward, the evil knight orders again. It's poll time. The poll this time is, do we want to resist his command, or do we want to... Wait, what? Oh, okay, let me say that again. Do we want to approach the knight, or do we want to take Abby's advice? Also, hey, thanks. That was for the 100 bits. That's very kind of you. I'm having a lot of fun tonight, and I hope you have as well. Abby's advice. Okay, here's the poll. Man, if we died in Goosebumps, we died in real life, I'd be dead at least 10 times over now. We thoroughly exhausted one of the other options at the beginning of the book, and it killed us like 8 different times. It's been a bit of a rough night so far. Sounds like Augerly is choosing to heed the night. Or maybe Augerly just hates Abby. That's a perfectly valid take as well. But we will see. We'll see how the majority feels. All of the children are equally hated. They deserve to be turned into evil night guards and petunias. All right. We're going to approach the night. But first, I'm going to write down this page so we can return to it later if we need to. All right. We cannot resist his command. Come forward, the evil knight repeats from the darkness behind the door. His voice works some evil magic on you. You see black and white spirals spinning before your eyes. You struggle to look away, but you can't. Come forward, he booms. You are hypnotized by his command. Okay, yeah. No, Abby cries. Cover your ears. Don't listen to him. Don't go in there. I command you. But you still find your feet shuffling forward. You get a funny feeling as you pass through the doorway. Somehow, you know this room isn't on the official map of the Medieval Museum. Yeah, we all hate that, kid. Unless we're unless we're sharing the bed with him at night, I suppose. But still, you've just got to see what's in there. Stop, Kip yells as you enter the dark room. It could be a torture chamber or filled with hungry beasts. Come back. Poor Kip. He could never understand. Welcome to my museum, roars the voice of the evil knight as you enter the mysterious dark room. My very own... my very own medieval museum of nightmares. He bursts into laughter at his own joke. His horrifying laughter mocks you. It seems to come from every direction. You spin around, peering into the darkness for any sign of the night. You might have to. Where are you? You shout over the chorus of evil sounds. Show your face. Ah! An ear-piercing screech. The knight in screaming armor reminds you who's in charge here. Suddenly, you don't feel so curious anymore. A dim light seems to come from somewhere, or maybe it's just that your eyes grow accustomed to the dark. But all around you, vertical lines seem to emerge from the blackness. They're bars, iron bars, they're cages, but they're not your cage, at least not yet. It's a kind of museum exhibit, or maybe a zoo of evil. You shake with terror when you see what's inside all those cages. You gasp. All around you, cages hold hideous, mutant faces and monstrous shapes. Something about them looks strangely familiar, too. Yeah, this is where the knight keeps all his ridiculousness in cages. Then you realize the evil knight has gathered together all of your most terrifying creatures from your own worst nightmares. To the right, there behind those bars, looms a hulking purple mound of slime. It has two enormous watery yellow eyes, and it's sweating snails. They pop out of its skin and crawl towards you. Oh, gross, you hear yourself say. Just to your left is the dark and hey, quick segue. For Goosebumps fans, I believe these are all callbacks to other Goosebumps books. Just another little meta thing here. Just to your left is the dark and silent outline of an executioner with a broad, flat axe. Without thinking, you grab your neck. Your eyes grow wider. There are vampire bats, tarantulas, a howling werewolf with mucus slime fur. Next to the werewolf, cages of scraggly-haired, wart-covered old women reach for you through slime-covered bars. We'll see if it presents us that option. And yeah, I guess there is kind of a Goosebumps multiverse. I think even the Jack Black movie had a lot of guys tied together there. Scaly-skinned dragons breathe fire at your face when you look in their direction. Hissing vipers hang down from the ceiling and brush against your ears. One wriggling snake drops onto your shoulder. You squeal in horror and shiver as the snake's clammy body wriggles down your arm and drops to the floor. Then you notice a familiar-looking piece of parchment speared on one of its poisonous fangs. You almost can't believe it. You know you have to get that parchment. Carefully, you reach down. Somehow, you manage to pluck it off without getting bitten. The snake slithers away. Hey, look what I found, you shout and glance around for Kip and Abby, but you're all alone. Well, not quite alone. A chorus of hideous snarls, moans, and cackles answer you. You try to ignore it and read what's on the parchment, but it's much too dark. You need more lighting. The lighting is better on page 36. The only light bright enough to read by is the firelight of the dragon's breath. You inch yourself closer to that cage and hold out the jagged-edged piece of parchment. But just as you're ready to start reading, one of the dragons exhales a long ribbon of flame, and it touches the parchment. It bursts into flames in your hands. You throw the paper to the ground. Just before the scrap turns to ashes, you get one good look at it. You think it says, When evil fights and good defends, the curse of screaming armor ends. That sounds familiar, you say to yourself. You remember what Kip told you about the curse. The evil knight will destroy all that is good unless a brave and noble Saxton can defeat it. It has to be a Saxton. Looking around the room, you know one thing for sure. The only good thing around here is you. You also happen to be a Saxton. Can you handle this much evil on your own? We have another choice. The choice is, do we want to handle this alone? Or do we want to go back and get our cousins? I will put the poll up for you, and it is yours to decide. To set the stage, we are currently surrounded by cages full of evil creatures, seemingly from other Goosebumps books, and they are in total darkness. Our cousins are somewhere behind us, but we've lost track of them. Do we want to go back and fetch them? Or do we want to proceed all our lonesome? We will see. We will see. We had a similar option to this back during the part where we were in that weird rock area, and there were all those people who had been turned to stone. And there, going back to your cousins, turned out to be a better option, although still not a winning one. Okay, we've got a tie here, alone and get cousins. So we're going to have to flip a coin. What does it say? It says we're going it alone. Maybe we'll have another chance to get our cousins later, but for now, we're going to go and get alone. We find time. We'll see. You decide you have to face the knight in screaming armor one-on-one. If Kip and Abby join you in this evil exhibit hall, you may all come to a terrible end. And these are, after all, your nightmares. Just as you decide not to call them, you hear Kip's voice from the doorway. "Don't come in," you shout back. "You were right. This place is a torture chamber." Before you can stop them, Kip and Abby pass through the doorway and into the Hall of Horrors. "Stop," you warn them, but it's too late. They're in. "Welcome to your doom," the evil knight roars as Kip and Abby step into the darkness. "Go back," you shout to your cousins. "I found the last piece of the puzzle. It said, when evil fights and good defends, the curse of screaming armor ends. But it's no use. There's too much evil in this place. Go back." "We can't go back," Kip shouts. "The door closed behind us." "We can't win," you yell. "Without Sir Edmund's armor, we don't have a chance." "We have to earn the armor," Kip cries. "We have to show that we are brave enough to wear the armor of a knight. That's the way the curse is written." You know Kip is right. Only the bravest become knights. And you don't know about Kip and Abby, but you aren't feeling too brave at the moment. Let's see. You look at Abby and are amazed to see her boldly batting at some hanging snakes. She was pretty brave, you think. "Get away from my hair," she yells as she knocks another snake to the ground. Then she misses one. It drops onto her shoulder and starts to wrap around her head. "Ah!" Abby cries. "Help me!" She falls to the floor, pulling at the snake. "Help!" she screams again. "Save me!" Kip tries to be brave. He runs to help his sister. In his rush, he tripped into an open-mouthed steel trap. His left leg is grabbed by the jagged metal teeth of the trap. "Help!" Kip cries. He can't even get free to help Abby. He can't even help himself. It's all up to you now. Only you have a chance of earning the right to wear the armor of the good knight. Oh, and have a good night, Auguste. I'm glad you showed up. It was a lot of fun chatting with you. Let's see. Over your cousin's cries for help, the scraggly old women in cages cackle. Fight the evil, earn the armor. Bats bearing vampire fangs fly down at you from above. You flail your arms at them. The fire of the dragon's breath reaches for you with its flaming fingers. Oh, hey. Hi, Russian. Thanks for the subscription. It's been a fun stream. I hope you've gotten to catch something. Let's see. Yeah, I'm starting to hate just about everything these evil guys tell us. It's either a honeyed trap or an astute evil. Let's see. Bats bearing vampire fangs fly down at you from above. You flail your arms at them. The fire of the dragon's breath reaches for you with its flaming fingers. You shield your eyes. You take a deep breath and move toward the steel trap holding Kip's leg. Before your hand gets close enough to try to free him, a gust of smoke fills the room. Huge puffs of black smoke burn your eyes. I can't see a thing, you shout. You put your hands out in front of you and feel something smooth and metallic. A suit of armor. You rub the smoke from your eyes and squint. Yes, you shout, it's the armor of the good knight. You try to open the armor to put it on. It's no use. No amount of tugging will get you into the suit. You haven't earned the right to wear it yet. Grab the battle axe, Kip cries. The armor holds a gleaming battle axe in its glove. Please save us, Abby pleads as she pulls at her snakeskin necklace. You yank the battle axe from the steel-gloved hand of the suit of armor. It pulls free. All the creatures in the cages are pressed against their bars, heckling. The purple one spits snails at you. They crunch under your feet as you walk. The werewolf snarls through his drool. It takes all of your strength to lift the enormous battle axe. Then you swing it. It crashes down on the werewolf's cage like a ton of bricks. There's an explosion, a burst of smoke, and when it all clears, the beast is gone. You swing the axe again. This time it's the dragons, and they explode too. One by one they vanish. The bats, the vipers, the wretched hecklers, even the steel trap holding Kip's leg. They all go up in puffs of smoke. You've done it, Abby shouts happily. You saved us. Good work, cousin, Kip adds, patting you on the back. Each pat sends a metal ringing through your ears. You're staring out at your cousins through a metal-faced mask. Hey, you cry out. Hey, hey, hey. Your voice echoes back. Oh, thank you for the gift sub. That's very kind of you. Let's see. Suddenly, you realize you're not the same kid you were a moment ago. You have confronted all of your fears and won. Your bravery has earned you the right to wear the armor of the good knight. But it's not the end. The evil knight is waiting for you on page 80. The good knight's armor has armed you with more than a battle axe and shield. It's armed you with courage. This dungeon doesn't scare you. Show your face, evil knight, you shout bravely. You don't have to wait long. A giant figure steps out of the sickly yellow light. It's the evil knight. He is taller, darker, and scarier than ever. His eyes shoot flames at you. The flames hit your silver armor and heat it up on contact. His eyes fire at you again. Sweat pours down your face and neck. Inside the armored barbecue pit, you're melting. The evil knight laughs as he raises his sword and brings it hard against your helmet. The vibrations from the metal and metal make your whole body shake. The evil knight swings again and hits you on the other side of your helmet. You're too stunned to move. Yeah, I think I would hate that too. Even fire resistant as I am. Fight, someone screams. It's the sorceress, the same one who created the evil knight and watched him defeat Sir Edmund Saxton. She's been waiting centuries for another showdown. Fight, she screams again. Fight, fight, fight! You are dizzy from the heat and the force of the sword against your helmet. The sorceress's shouts are echoed by the other evil creatures in the dungeon. Fight, fight, they all cry at once. They want to fight, I'll give them a fight, you say. The evil knight raises his sword again and prepares to slash her suit in half. This is the hit that is aimed to destroy you. You take one heavy step backward. You raise your battle axe high over the evil knight's black-armored helmet. He swings his steel-bladed sword right at your stomach. Think fast. With the heavy battle axe raised over your head, you can't exactly duck. Instead, you pull your stomach back as far as it will go. You turn yourself into a human question mark. The mighty blow of the evil knight scratches across your armor with a ring, but it doesn't cut you. You still have the axe raised over your head. You lower it now with all your strength. Crash! In one swift motion, you bring the axe down on the head of your evil enemy. Ah! The knight in screaming armor screams, but this time he falls to the dungeon floor. He lies there, motionless. The knight in screaming armor lies silent at your feet. You can't believe it. It's almost too good to be true. But it is. You turn to the sorceress and lift your battle axe in a salute to her. Then thwack to your armored back. A powerful blow crushes you to your knees. It sends vibrations ringing through your armor and every one of your bones. The evil knight is not finished with you yet. The armor you wear is very heavy, but you manage to lift yourself back to your feet. You raise your battle axe again and welcome the chance to move in. Welcome to your nightmare, the evil knight bellows at you. But you've heard this before. If he thinks he's going to scare you away, he's got another thing coming. And in fact, he does have another thing coming. The sharpened blade of your battle axe. It's now or never. While he's still laughing his wicked laugh, you set your feet, swing around in a circle, and release the battle axe like a frisbee. Almost in slow motion, it travels towards his face. It smashes into him in a burst of smoke. Roar! The evil knight screams again, but this time his screams fade away slowly. Through the smoke, you see the heap of black armor shrivel up and turn into a ball of tinfoil on the floor. From the throne in the corner, the sorceress cries out, "No, no! All spells are broken! All spells are broken!" You watch in amazement as her throne disappears. Her sorceress robes turn to rags. Her face grows older and older even as you watch. The evil creatures around you shrivel and vanish. The sorceress is nothing more now than a bent and withered old woman. The iron gate is gone. The darkness in the dungeon starts to lift. Then you hear pounding on the door behind you. Her plans were foiled. Right. Good pun. Pound, pound, pound. What could it possibly be now? Kip and Abby burst through the door. "What's happening in there?" Abby shouts. "We heard terrible screams," Kip adds. "Are you okay?" You sit up. That's right. You sit up and push the covers aside. You're in bed, back at home, at last. "It was the knight in screaming armor. We had an awesome battle and I killed him," you exclaim proudly. "I broke the curse and brought us home." "What are you talking about?" Kip asks. "The knight in screaming what? Oh, you mean that crazy story my grandfather used to tell? How do you know about that?" "Kip, Abby," you shout. "You have to remember, the evil knight was going to destroy all that was good unless a brave and noble Saxon could defeat it. Remember? We traveled to England, and we fought the evil knight." "You traveled to England," Abby says as she flicks her hair, "in your dreams. But it wasn't in your dreams, and the proof is on the bedroom floor at Abby's feet. A small, crumpled up scrap of metal. You almost didn't notice it, except that it's steaming. Now you know that this story has come to a happy end. Well, I'm sorry if you hated it, but the good news is I think we finally found the good ending. And just in time, too. We're right at the 3-hour mark. Nice. I feel victorious. I feel like I finished a game here tonight. It was a really fun story. And I'm glad that you all were here to help guide me through it. Since we are approaching the 3-hour mark, I think it's probably a good time to wrap up. I'll go ahead and set up a raid. But I really want to thank you all for coming. I'd like to thank everyone who voted, who had some funny commentary. I've really enjoyed myself. I really hope that you all did as well. And I am going to play. I think I'm going to do another one this upcoming Monday. There may be changes. Just watch my Twitter if you want to be aware of any of those changes. But for now, we're going to play on Monday. And I'll announce what book as we get a little bit closer. Let's see. Who's good to raid? I have an idea, but I'm not sure if they're actually on right now. Let us find out. Let's see. They are, yeah. Callie Calico is doing her date night right now, and she's been trying to schedule that for a really long time. Please do remember to scan that completed maze or you'll never believe me. Okay. Maybe I will. Okay, but we're going to raid Callie because she's doing her date night stream, and she's put a lot of work into it, so I think it would be neat to see what she's up to. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll raid in 10 seconds, and look forward to another book on Monday. Have a great night, everybody.